We're going to check your formative from class today. The top part here should have been filled out when we went into our breakout rooms. You should have your partner's question in there. If you didn't get to every one of the questions, that's okay. Now let's go ahead and go over the bottom part here. If I'm finding the prime factorization for 48, you can start whatever way you want. I'm going to start with 6 times 8, and then I'm going to break it down till I get to my prime numbers. So remember, you have to keep going as far as you can. Now, once you get all of your prime numbers, I'm going to circle them here. And I have 4 2's, so that's 2 to the 4th times 3. This is my prime factorization for 48. Let's look at the second one now. If Mrs. Feynman's classroom, there was a ratio of 24 chairs to 22 desks. Let's write that ratio in the simplest form. So first we have 24 to 22, and I'm going to simplify that down here, and I get 12 chairs to 11 desks. So just make sure you label your answers here. Number 3 says Mrs. Aldridge drove her car 78 miles and used 3 gallons of gas. What's the car's gas in miles per gallon? So remember, if it's miles per gallon, I want to get it down to 1. I need to divide by 3 to get to 1, so I'm going to divide by 3 on the top. Then go ahead and do your division here. Once I do my division, I get 26 as my answer. So it's 26 miles per gallon. Okay, here we're going to evaluate the expression. So if y is -3, I'm going to do 15 times -3 here, and I get -45. For my second one, I'm going to plug in -3 to the second plus 3 times 7. So remember, this means -3 times -3, which would give me a +9. I'm going to rewrite that, and then I'm going to solve my multiplication here. 21. 9 plus 21 is going to give me 30. My next one, if I'm looking at these expressions, I need to write them down. So a number x multiplied by 12. Just going to be 12x, or you could have written x12. Remember, we don't need that multiplication sign anymore. My next one here, the quotient of x and 4. So remember, this is division whenever you see quotient. So x divided by 4, could write it like that. X divided by 4 like this. Remember, a fraction is just a division question. My next one, we need to simplify the expressions by combining our like terms. So if I'm combining my like terms, I first need to distribute, because I can't do what's inside the parentheses. I'm not going to add here because that's the order of operations. So I'm going to rewrite 3 plus 7 times -2 gives me -14x plus 28. Now notice I have 2 signs in there. I'm going to erase that plus because the negative always wins. Now I'm going to combine my like terms by circling. 28 plus 3 gives me 31 minus 14x. Okay, my second one here, I'm going to distribute that 4x plus 4 minus 7x. Again, I'm going to circle my like terms. 4 minus 7 gives me negative 3x plus 4. I can't combine those because I can't combine a variable with a constant. Now let's go ahead and solve our equations down here. Remember we did this dotted line. If I have g minus 9, I'm going to add 9. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. So now we have g equals negative 2 plus 9 is going to give me 7. And remember, we can check our work. 7 minus 9 is negative 2. So I know my answer is correct. Over here, remember this is 1/2 times m. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Remember, when we're dividing fractions, we do our, fractions, we do our keep, change, flip. So I'm just gonna really multiply it by the reciprocal. If I multiply this side by the reciprocal, these are gonna cancel out. Now, whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other. So m is going to equal negative 18 over 1, which we know is negative 18. You can also check your answer. 1/2 of negative 18. Oh, whoops, see, Mrs. Feynman caught her mistake when I checked my work. Because look, I forgot that we were multiplying over here by a negative. So a negative times a negative should have given me a positive. So my answer should be a positive 18. Because negative 1/2 times positive 18 will give me negative 9. That's where the check step can be important. Okay, record down how the Florida Gators are going to win next year's national championship. Thanks.